we are probably seeing the beginning of a proper strong move to the upside. Obviously, with the dollar index moving lower, but yeah, it's still early days. I mean, it's really difficult. One thing I did expect beginning of the year when Trump took, well, I think it was a bit of a surprise for many, of him winning the election, is that I think we're in for a very, very volatile time. And we can already see that in the indices, which are mostly the market that I follow, the US indices like the NASDAQ.
News. I think that GDP will be better for Aussie, and on the other side, all these weak US dollar, strong Aussie, and I just decide to create this a long-term
The
trade
trade.
with a very very low risk. So
Okay.
I just want to see what will happen there, and this was my trade. I think the trade of the week. So we will
Very
see, of
nice.
course, what will happen.
Very nice. Yeah, if that pulls off, it's going to be huge. Very nice. Awesome.
Of
Cool.
course, I'm ready to correct my order if I see some disappointed news for Aussie dollar, because in the past, because if we analyze last 2 years, I think that economists from Australia make a lot of mistakes. They made a lot of mistakes, and I think that they can repeat that, because they're very, very often, I think that 80% of the time, we have different different results than expectation. It's really strange, because in US we know that almost 80% of the time economists predict what will be the percentage of the GDP, or
Yeah.
interest rate and everything. But in Australia, they really have a problem with that. So because of that, I need to be caution, and I will wait tomorrow news to see
So
what will happen
what
there.
time is that coming out, Igor? Because that's Australia's time, right?
It's a it's yes, it's early morning on my side. I live in Europe, so it will
Okay,
be
you're in Europe.
around 1:30. Yes, yes.
Yeah, I'm in
So it
South
will be
Africa,
very
so we
early.
pretty much same time zone, I think. So would be interesting to
Yes,
see. Let's see. Hopefully it works out for you.
yes.
Awesome. Right, maybe if I can share my screen, if you don't mind, if you've got anything else to show there,
Of
then
course.
I'll
Yes,
just
please.
quickly
Yes,
show
please.
you what I'm looking at on the NASDAQ. Let me just take the screen back quick. There we go. That should be showing right now.
Yes.
So what I basically do is wait for what they call morning liquidity sweeps. Generally, if price, and this is on the NASDAQ, takes out during the 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. time window, a previous low or high, whether you want to call that stop running or whatever the case might be, followed by a reversal. Now, you see these lines that I've drawn in here are pretty much, this was yesterday's. We've had everything fall in line for a strategy to take along there, but price didn't reach an area I wanted to trade. So unfortunately missed that. In hindsight, obviously a good thing, because price just bounced a little bit and moved lower again. But you can see all these previous days, if you look at these time zones between, or time window between 9 and 11, is generally where you get these reversals. Also, when your stock market opens, obviously with 9:30, is generally when you get a reversal. So what I mean by the sweep is the price either takes out overnight high session low, or high or low, sorry, or previous day's high and low structure point, and then they generally get a reversal. I mean, this happens all the time. We had that on Friday. It was 27th. We had a reversal there, and it happens all the time. And just knowing that that occurs all the time, you can then, well, I did go and create a strategy around that. So I would like to see break of previous price structure points after a reversal. I like looking for fair value gaps if that forms during a reversal, and then I use those to basically enter into a trade. So that will be my trade location. So very structured approach. There's quite a lot of things that need to fall in line for me to take a trade. So I don't always have a trade every single day. So I'm pretty patient with that. And you can see I'm here on the 5-minute time frame, but I will switch to a 1-minute time frame as well, and then I'll use that as my trade execution time frame. So I'll trade multiple lots as well, and generally like to take off half of my lots at a 1-to-1 risk-reward ratio, risk-reward ratio, and then try to keep the rest in the market, see if I can get a runner there. Quite often, if the NASDAQ runs really nicely, it can be quite volatile. Then you can quite often squeeze out nice, at least a 1-to-2 or much higher than that ratio out of it. So it's a day trading strategy. I don't hold these trades overnight, but it's not a scalping strategy per se either. So generally holding a position in anywhere from, I've been in trades for 5 minutes up into, I think, average about 25 minutes roundabout there. So what we basically want to see here is, this is why there's not really anything for me to do at the moment, but just to give you or the viewers a recap of, or show my trading plan, is that price has now obviously entered into the 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Time window. If we see a continuation lower and price breaks this previous low, followed by a reversal upwards, then I'll start looking at the additional steps that I need to see, like price structure break. What I mean by that, I'll then switch to a 1-minute time frame, but I don't really have to do that right now. For those that are interested, let me just get my path tool out. Price structure break in a downtrend obviously makes lower lows, lower highs. So let's say price does this. Let's say it potentially makes a new low and then breaks back upwards again and takes out a structure point. Oh, I don't know why I did that with. That is another signal that we're potentially getting a change in trend. So I don't really have a bias if I want to be long or short today. Is pretty much what price does, and if all my steps fall into place. And once that occurs, I want to see a fair value gap that forms prior to price breaking that, and then basically a retest of that fair value gap. Also like to call them acceleration gaps. And then that's where I'll enter into a trade. So that is the morning liquidity sweep for those that do not know yet. This is the third presentation or live trading session that I'm showing this. On the very first day last week, Wednesday, we actually pulled off a very nice trade. So for those that are interested in it, we do have recordings available on our YouTube channel, I believe it is. So you can go rewatch that there. Maybe sometimes if you join a little bit late, then that's maybe a good idea to go and check that out. Because sometimes when these setups occur, they happen really, really fast. And I almost missed that one on Wednesday last week, but luckily we managed to take it, and it was a really nice trade. That's pretty much what I'm waiting for, Igor.
Excellent. One question for you, Richard. Do you use any special time moments when you enter into trade on some opening range or the US Open or something like that? Do you use anything of that?
So I just trade. I want to see the setup occur between 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. Because as I've shown you historically, you typically get your reversals or like a low for the day or a high of the day during that time window. So we still got about, I think, 10 minutes before the yeah, about 11 minutes before the stock market actually opens at 9:30. And that's quite often where you'll see a lot of volume obviously coming in. And
Yes.
in my situation here, with potentially for me to have a trading plan here, is I want to see price take out this previous low rather than just tanking, which it probably could. You know, we never know. I want to see a reversal back upwards. And during that reversal, when price then breaks previous structure point, we have a structure point up here now, then I want to see fair value gaps form and use that as my trade entry location. So to answer your question, I want to make use of the, I'm going to say not a fact, but the repeatable occurrences where price actually make nice reversals during this time window. So yesterday we had a beautiful one here, and we had one to the upside as well. This one didn't set up because there was a fair value gap on the 1 minute time frame that price just collapsed. It never tested it again. If I want to zoom into this one, for example, from
Yes.
yesterday, just get that ready. Go back all the way to it. Here we go. You can see that price took out round about the, so there was actually at the 10 a.m. mark, it took out the actual overnight session low.
Yes.
Now, as that happened, it started bouncing around a little bit. And it was at this point where you can see just prior to this low, there was a little structure there. If you go to the 1 minute here, price was making lower lows, lower highs. It messed around. It actually broke that structure point, but didn't give me a fair value gap anyway. And then finally, it did break it. Actually closed above it. And here we have a fair value gap, that sort of like pinkish rectangle that I drew here. Now, as we were watching this yesterday, I wanted to get long if price were to retest that. And it was actually 2-3 minutes after price broke above that structure point, and then we had a nice bounce upwards. So that did not occur, and I think we closed the room off at 10:30 because we're only on for an hour and a half. But slightly after that, you see we had a retest of that zone again with another decent bounce to the upside. And that will typically be an entry right there using the fair value gap as a trade location. But yeah, yesterday, even if I did get into this trade, probably would have just taken a 1-to-1, would have been at break even at that point. As price exited that time window, you probably would have been out already with a very small profit to show anyway. So not the best of a setup, but it would have yielded something at the very least. But that's pretty much what the strategy does, Igor. I don't know if that explains your question properly for you.
Yes, 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 really. Very similar that I do, for example, for a British pound dollar and euro dollar, because this move that we have, for example, testing of the previous session low, for example, it's beautiful to enter into buy trade and vice
Yeah,
versa. So
yeah.
it's a really good move.
And which time, may I ask, would that normally occur? Oh, did you say on the
I'm
euro, US
trading.
dollar, pound, US dollar?
Yes, I will just show you right now my
Okay,
screen of the
please
British
do.
pound dollar. Just a
Mm-hmm.
moment. I will share the screen like this. I hope that you see. Yes. For
There we
example, I
go.
usually like to use 30 minutes of the British pound dollar and euro
Mm,
dollar and to draw the trend lines on a relative strength index indicator because that
okay.
trend line gives me just the strength of the market. And for example, right now we just touch the trend line, and this can be very good opportunity to enter into buy trade. Of course, I want to see how we'll close in next 6 minutes, for example,
Okay.
this setup. However, if I see that the price started going up, this can be really good to enter into trade. Actually, for British pound dollar, we have some levels that repeat itself several years. Actually, from the 2016, we repeat some levels on the intraday, for example, so often that it's really unbelievable. So for example, I know that for today the important levels will be 1.27, 27.30, 27.60, and the
Okay.
price support will be between 1.27, 27.1. For
Mm-hmm.
example, right now we are very close to the support, and uh, I can really easily create good risk reward ratio, and we already have that. Just to put a few more lines, just to show how that looks like. This is um, this should be 26. There is some problem a little bit with just a moment to put one more horizontal line
Mm-hmm.
like this. Okay,
Okay.
so what I want to say is, of course, first I want to tell, when we use indicators like relative strength index, we always need to wait to finish the cycle. For example, because it's a 30-minute chart, we need to wait to be, for example, right now 9:30, for example, and only that we can conclude is it breakout or not breakout. Usually we can see something like this. Sometimes we see the breakout, but when the half hour is finished,
Yes.
there's no breakout anymore.
Yeah.
So it can be
Goes up
some
maybe.
kind of
Yeah.
repaint, and because we need to be patient when that happens.
Mm.
However, there is one very important thing. If we analyze the previous data from the 2023 up to now, it's 2 years, for example, price between 1.27 and 1.277, we have, believe or not, I think it's about 80 or 90 cases. So it's really so often price were in this range, and these
Okay.
levels play so often the same way. So for example, if you have a bullish trend like now, price just go down very near to 1.27, and then go to 27.30, 27.60, then go again to 27.1, then go to 1.2790, and etc,
Yeah.
etc. So price
Mm.
just going up and down all the time, and play around these levels. Of course, for example, if I enter just now into trade, I will put my stop loss just below this blue line, about maybe
Okay.
1.2675, and I will try to target 1.2760, and
Yeah.
try to make one-to-one. And usually I have very good risk reward ratio because I always wait to go on support. And
Yeah.
just British pound dollar is very good because it has some kind of great volatility.
Yeah.
We have really good push, either upside, either a downside. Sometimes 30 pips, we can just in 15-20 minutes we can just have that 30 pips very fast, and close our trades and enjoying trading in that way. It's not a slow burner currency pairs like US dollar CAD or
Yeah.
Aussie dollar,
Mm.
Kiwi dollar, when we sometimes need to wait a lot of time to reach the target.
So that
One
would be like a day trade for you. Do you actually enter on the 30-minute time frame as well, or?
Yes, this will be usually one session. For example,
Okay.
my trade is usually finished during the, if I open in the London Open, it will finish
Mm.
during the Euro session, for
I
example. And
got you.
in the
Okay.
US session, I can open another trade.
Okay.
Sometimes I need whole day to finish one trade.
Okay.
Sometimes there will be no
What's
trade.
up,
It
guys?
Mhm.
depends of all these situations. However, there is one trick that I realize when I just monitor the market. For example, sometimes we reach few pips to the target, and we don't hit the target, and the
Yeah.
price just fall down like this. When I see that, there is a high probability that price will go to the support and try again to hit the
Again.
target. And this is the something that I
All
see
right, here we
very,
go,
very
guys.
often when I trade
Market is
this
open.
forex pair,
We just
Yeah,
stopped
so
making
especially
just
the
US dollar cuts.
to butt in there, so you also follow
get this
or you
going.
study the markets and you know what repeatable behavior basically
Yes,
occurs on these markets and then use that to your advantage.
yes, yes. This is the pattern recognition is a really really important. And
Yeah.
one thing that you just
Guess we gotta
mentioned,
make
the very
sure
similar
we do
strategy
have a
to your strategy
strategy.
is that we have around the midnight, we have the low and the high, and
Where's our
usually
normal?
price
Oh,
start
we
to
don't have
always touch the, if you have a bullish trend, Asia
cool
low
strategies
or
on that
the
one.
Asia high.
Anyways,
And this is the something that I like to trade
we have just
during
opened
the London Open.
up.
And
Hmm.
because in that half hour
We're gonna
we
see
have a
what's
very
going
volatile
on
market,
here.
and
Where's
sometimes
this market
in
gonna
that
take us?
30 minutes we touch and the low and the high sometimes.
Yeah.
And it's very good, even if I have a wrong bias. If I buy the Asia low, I will certainly have a good setup, good
Yeah.
position,
All right, so
and
we're at
I
the
can really
low
be
of
a little bit
yesterday.
comfortable when I trade. So it's very good in this
Gotcha.
way. However, right now, for example, I don't like this slow movement right now, because
Hmm.
I wanted to see a stronger push up. So I will just monitor what will happen. There is a chance maybe to test this support before we try again to the 1.2760. So sometimes this is the most difficult part of the decision making, when I'm on the trend line and I'm not sure will the price will go up or down or something like
Yeah.
that. But there's no problem. I feel comfortable because I have a decent risk reward ratio, and I have a decent support. I believe in this support. If this support fails, no problem.
Yeah.
I will wait for another setup. No problem. I just talked with traders yesterday with a poll, and some I promise that I made to myself, because the last year I had a lot of bad trades, in the
Hmm.
way not losing trades. I put a lot of times a break even, put my stop loss on the entry position, and when I analyze all that trades, I figure out that my edge was more than 70%. So I
Oh
was
wow.
70% right,
Great.
and I closed all
Yeah.
day trades without any profit, just because I was afraid to lose. So
Yeah.
this year I said myself, I'm prepared to lose. I will lose, no problem. And I that
Good.
pessimistic approach give me some kind of psychological relief. Yes.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's
I
something
mean,
I
it's
need to.
also, and this is really interesting. I mean, I think for beginner traders as well, to hear this from someone that's experienced, we even make mistakes. If you want to call it mistake, maybe not. Maybe it's just being human. So it's all about confronting that. Also, obviously, looking at historical performance, what went wrong, and fixing it. Not having that ego to like I'm going to continuously do the same thing over and over and over again and expect different results, which is what a
9367.
lot of traders do. So yeah, good on you. I mean, for me personally, with this strategy that I'm trading, I usually just have a fixed target and then I'll be happy with that. But yeah, also try to also move my stop quite soon, too often. And although I take a 1-to-1, even on that second contract, or I'm talking contracts here, but on the lots that's still in the market, I prefer to give the market as much space as possible to do its thing, because it's a real punch in the gut when you sometimes
Yes.
get stopped out and then like literally it reverses directly Murphy's law after you got stopped out, and then does a 100 point 200 point run, which is it can be quite not
It's actually a
nerve-wracking,
good.
but yeah, a punch in the gut, that's for sure. So I'm also just looking here at the NASDAQ. We did have the stock market open 4 minutes ago, so price has declined again. Can I quickly show my charts?
Yes, yes, please. I just want to see.
Present, share screen. There we go. So we can see price already tested this previous low. I wouldn't really call this an overnight session low, but since price has been, moving low in such a strong downwards trend here, at least on the 5-minute, it did create a bit of a double bottom with this previous low over here. So what I want to see here is for this strategy to work, it's not really a strong continuation, although that can obviously happen. Markets will do what they want to do, not listen to me. But ideally, want to see a bounce back up. Now, where's the previous price structure point before this low? It would be at this high over here, before this low, right?
Yes.
You need to see a break back up from there.
All right, we have our...
And as that happens, I want to see a fair value gap ideally form prior to that breakout. And then you want to see a retest of that gap and use that as your trade location.
Yes,
I just quickly want to see what the actual low was here of this chart. Let me just get my settings right. I am using, I think it's the C Trader time frame or chart here. But we did have a bit of a break of that low without looking at the data. That could potentially be what I'm looking for here. It's not a big level that's been taken out. It's just a lower low again. But if we see now a break above and a close, well, not necessarily a close, we need a 3 candlestick pattern to give us a fair value gap. And for those that do not know what a fair value gap is, as I mentioned, it's a 3 candlestick formation where you'll get a gap between the first candle and the third candle. Generally, your second candle is a long-ranging candle, and there's a gap between the wicks of the first and the second candle, obviously depending if you're looking at a bullish sort of fair value gap or a bearish fair value gap. So let's assume this candle now closes here somewhere. And I need another candle, and this is on the 5 minutes, so I should actually be on the 1 minute here already. You can see price is actually breaking that high at the moment. And as I'm talking a lot of bull here. We potentially have a fair value gap there. It will only be a fair value gap if this now closes. And we got how much minutes? We have about 20 seconds left on that candle. If this wick stays where it's at or moves a little bit lower and there's a gap there, and there we get that gap, I'll use that as my trade location and I'll place a buy limit order there. And in this situation, I would like to place a stop potentially at this low, 2217. So I just want to get my stop loss in at least. And a good to cancel order, make sure everything is fine, buy limit order on top there, and that's what I'll do. So I actually have everything lining up here. Not ideal because this is just so close to the actual opening, half an hour before my, sorry, not opening, the trade window, the start of my trade window, but it is what it is. So I'll be willing to go long at the top of that fair value gap. So I'm using that as a trade location. If you want to be a bit more conservative or get a slightly better entry point, a lot of guys that trade this type of strategies, not particularly mine, but they can, for example, go and place their buy order in the middle of the fair value gap as well if they wanted to. But we got a break of that previous low. We got a bounce higher. And we're going to break off a price structure point, potentially a change of character, meaning that this could potentially be at least a temporary end to this downwards move to the downside. Potentially, I would say. And quite often, these fair value gaps act really well as support and resistance. They get tested quite often. So if it does test that upper limit, I'm long now 6 contracts. All right, so obviously time will tell if this is going to work out or not. I've accepted the risk. If we look at just roughly the amount of ticks, let me just get my date range out here. From the entry, come on, price range. I'm actually going to start using TradingView as well. It's just that I've been asked to use this platform. We're looking at around about 106 ticks. That's quite wild on the NASDAQ. So what I want to do is I want to place a 1-to-1 ratio would be around about just under the 20,437 level. So what I would like to do is place 3 contracts there. This case would be a sell limit order, take off half of my positions at that level. Should price reach that, all right? But it might not, so it is what it is. Last week Wednesday when we took that trade, slightly after that you contracts, and I'm talking contracts because I'm more of the future side of things, off at a 1-to-1, then I'll reduce my remaining position to midway between where I entered and where my original stop loss was. So I don't go to break even too soon, trying to give the market still as much space to move around in without getting stopped out prematurely. And generally when price reaches a 1.5 or 1-to-2 ratio, that's when I'll start aggressively trail my stop to break even, and on the 1-minute time frame, even decide to trail the stop below the low of candles moving to the upside. If that happens, so I'm in this trade now, let's see what happens. Not looking great, but let's see what happens. Right, Ego, what's happening your side? Did you see any trade setups there?
Yes, I will just share to see what happens on a British pound.
Boom.
Just a
Boom.
moment.
We just went opposite. Took a little bit of niceness.
This is looking really weak. Might get a
So,
stop out.
like I said, we are on the same place. The good thing is that we had a price around 2.2705. It was the support just in the middle of your session. And I just want to see what will happen here. Very often price hit this level and retrace and start to go up. However, what I don't like here is that this relative strength index trend line looks like a broken, and this is something that it's not good. Of course, I need to see next 15 minutes because it really can change the shape in just the 15 minutes. And this is the US Open, so this is something that we need to monitor and wait. But I can tell you one thing, that every single day when I trade, I always try to have a bias, and I try to find some area where there is a bullish bearish invalidation point. And for example, for British pound dollar right now, it is this level 1.2680, and this level is something that I can tell, okay, on intraday level, I'm bullish above this level, I'm bearish below this level, for example. Of course, I want to be bullish, and it's good if price just reach support and start to go up again. And I will, like I said, in these circumstances, either enter into trade, either wait a little bit more and wait what will happen. I avoid to trade on very low time frames here. Sometimes I like to go on a 15 minutes chart. It's a similar and it's okay. But on 5 minutes, I avoid to trade British pound dollar because it's a little bit too volatile, and I, because of that, try to avoid any kind of trading there.
Okay.
So this is the usually my strategy. Of course, as you can see, the most of the day I passing in waiting the price to come some level that I want to price be. So it's a little bit boring, but this is this is trading all about. So there's no a lot of excitement. So I
Yeah.
think that the scalpers maybe have that kind of excitement, but in this way there's no.
I used
We're
to scalp a
sort of
lot.
bouncing off
I
of the
can't do that
middle.
anymore. It's
I
just
mean, the
it's
low
too much
of
for me, to be
yesterday.
honest. Too much stress. I seem to lose focus the older I get as well. So I prefer things slow.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it's just discipline again, right? So you know what you want to do, but things need to work in your favor, or you need to see what you need to see before you get into a trade, right? So I think a lot of traders have that misconception that there should be a lot of action, and let's say they're trading and nothing happened. All of a sudden, they want to put on a trade because they haven't traded and they're forcing a trade, and then that is just the wrong thing to do, in my opinion. Trading because you think you need to trade is, and not following a strategy.
Yes, overtrading is a big problem in trading. I think the number two problem. The number one is risking too much, and another thing is overtrading. Yes.
Yep.
So I just want to tell one more thing related to trading. As sometimes, like I always try to, for example, if my bias is bullish to buy, if my bias is selling to sell, but sometimes I'm ready to go against that, and I'm ready to, for example, to buy on to sell on resistance. Sometimes I'm ready to go against the major trend only when I see that the standard deviation is totally too extended. So I will just show you. This is my little strategy that sometimes I'm use when I don't have a lot of trades to do, and
Mm-hmm.
I feel comfortable to go against the major trend. This is the mean reversion strategy that I like to use. So what I do, I go to the of course Bollinger Bands, and I choose the typical Bollinger
We're in a
Band.
nice trade
Just
now.
change the colors a little bit. I will
Broke
put
above the
here
5,
a green,
going towards
and
the
here
low
put a
of
green like this.
yesterday.
And then
We're
I
gonna
add
show this right
another
now.
Bollinger Band, and I will just explain why I'm doing this. This is the something that I use when I want to avoid overtrading. This is the way how to avoid if I want
Boom!
to trade.
Boom! Boom!
So what I
Let's
do
go.
is this is
All
the
right, you can see we're up
here I will
118
put
today.
a red one just to make a difference like this. And what I will do here, I will change the standard deviation. So Bollinger Bands is very simple indicator. It uses a moving average
All right,
20,
all right,
and
all right.
standard
Let's get.
deviation bands, or usually default settings is 2. What I'm doing, I create one standard deviation number 3. And why I'm doing this is because standard deviation is with the standard deviation 3 is a very rare signal. And what I'm looking for when I want to sell, for example, just to see, maybe to go to some lower time frame, just to show
Mm-hmm.
how that looks like, to have more setups there. Here, for example, here, my, so we didn't touch there. I want to touch the standard deviation 3. I want to a lower or higher Bollinger Band. So, for example, here situation, it's March 4 at 4 a.m. in the morning. For example,
Yeah.
we touched the standard deviation. I wait the price, the candle close about standard deviation 2, enter into trade, put the stop loss just below the last low. And
Yeah.
what I'm trying to reach is a standard deviation 2 in another direction. And this scalping strategy sometimes can be beneficial for me because of course I risk very small amount of money, and it's a very rare signals, because especially for major currency pairs, the standard deviation free is not something that we can see very often, as you can see either on the 5-minute chart. And really, I feel comfortable when I trade this, and this I'm using only when I'm ready to scalp. For example, if price went, for example, here and touch this level here, 1.276, and touch this red line here today, if that happened, I would be ready to sell and wait to price touch, for example, the level at 1.2730, for example.
Okay.
And that will be, risk 5, 6, 7 pips risk and 30 pips profit. So it's
Okay.
very rare signals, but I can achieve very, very big risk reward ratio, very big risk reward ratio. And it can be applied on any kind of time frame, any kind of time frame, uh, just to see, do we have, for example, here, we touch, for example, the lower band, and we went up,
Yeah.
just to see
Big
any other
bumps.
example here. Here, here, for example, we touch, we didn't touch, he didn't touch, yes. Like I said, it's very rare, but when we touch standard deviation free, it's sometimes I'm ready to go against the main trend, but I try not to do very often this, because it's not comfortable to go against the major trend, especially when I have an opening range. Then maybe it's not smart to do that. But if I see that we have oversold, overbought market, and we reach a standard deviation free, sometimes I can try to do mean reversion. And price will start to go to the mean, to the simple moving average 20 usually, but uh, but I'm ready to wait to touch this level. And in a mean reversion, if somebody like a mean reversion strategy, they know if you go too much high or too much low with a standard deviation free, maybe 4, after that, usually will go completely different trade in a other direction. And this is something that I see very often when I trade a major forex pairs. Please tell me, Richard, do you use any mean reversion strategy when in your trading style?
Well, with the not with this particular strategy, but when it comes to scalping, then I typically like the, I won't say trading it necessarily when it would reach that, let's say, third standard deviation or second standard deviation. But I quite often, when I do a bit of swing trading, I like to try to figure out where the end of corrections might appear. I like using market geometry with that, i.e. pitchforks and channels and those sort of things. Um, but it's a great, for example, using a Bollinger Band. Let's say you believe you're dealing with a correction that might be coming to an end, and at the same time, on a lower time frame, you have, for example, price at one of these standard deviations. So at the extremes, and that's just an additional layer or of confidence, can I say, that price might be actually getting ready to reverse. So definitely, there is definitely a place for it in my strategy. So, but with that, I generally do a bit more of a swing trading type trades using market geometry, looking at patterns, corrective patterns, and then when it actually comes to entering, yeah, mean reversion, see if prices are at extremes, and then use that additional information. It's a bit of a confidence boost to get into a trade.
Nice, nice. And yesterday we just talk a little bit about strategies for ourselves and for other traders. And Paul yesterday talked about divergence, and we agree that in crypto market and in the major forex market, divergence is very good sometimes to use. And But I made concern about indices because in the past, when I find, for example, bearish divergence, I had a
Mm.
problem because the price just going up after that without any problem. And
Yeah,
I just want to ask you, because you're expert for indices, what do you think about using divergence and trading indices?
like momentum divergences, for example.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
if are you talking about divergences, like in momentum divergences, those sort of things?
Yes, yes. Those, for example, you can use some
Yeah.
oscillator and a
As
real
you
price
as you probably
and
know, if
compare.
you're dealing on the day with a very strong trend, I mean, the NASDAQ can be an absolute beast with that, where you just have very strong one directional trends, and you're thinking it might be reversing. If you don't approach that properly, then divergences can, for a very long extended period of time, basically tell you prices or momentum is actually drying up, whatever the case might be, when it isn't. You can clearly see it on the chart. So maybe just one extra layer that you can use as part of a strategy, but they're definitely not a sole indication that I would personally rely on when trading the indices.
And when you trade the indices and you decide, for example, for some swing trade, sometimes, which triggers do you use usually?
Well, I like to follow, for example, the what I've been showing you here. This is my main strategy. The reason why I trade this is because it's nice afternoon time in South Africa. I'm in South Africa. So this is now happening between 4 and 6 p.m. And, it gives me that time to go and focus and trade the strategy.
Okay.
Now, I think when is it? The 9th of March? I think it's on Sunday, right? So the daylight savings, they're going to move the clock forward or backwards. I can't remember how that works. But it's actually going to be an hour earlier for me, so I can then trade the strategy between 3 and 5. So this is my main strategy that I like to follow. And as you've seen, it's more of a price structure type of strategy, not relying on too many indicators. But that is, focusing just on the day trading side of things. In my own personal accounts, on the different accounts, for example, I can trade options, for example, or I like to do a bit more larger swing trades, as I mentioned, using market geometry. Not a lot of people actually use that, but are probably familiar with stuff like pitchforks, looking for areas,
Yes.
zones of confluence. We can use a bit of volume profile and that sort of stuff to, and then drill down into a potential smaller time frame to actually execute a trade. But always considering what your risk might be, and always trying to keep that risk as small as possible with a proper decent risk reward ratio. With that type of swing trading, if you nail the end of a correction and you believe it is the end of a correction, you get in, and the end where you believe, because you never know, obviously, for sure, if that end of that point where you're getting in, or the trading, or end of the zone that you
Of course.
actually identified, is far enough away from the high from where the correction, or the low from where the correction started from, you can quite often have a really, really good risk reward ratio of often over 1 to 5, 1 to 6, sometimes 1 to 10. And again, it's those type of trades where you need to be quite patient, because you have 3, 4 that might not work out, but you have a very small risk on it. But when you do get those nice big moves, you can ride trains for quite some time, which is obviously where the big money comes in, or profit. So yeah, basically this one I'm showing you here, guys, I'm still in that trade. Nearly got stopped out, hanging on a thread here. It's just basically price action based, if that makes sense. And also dealing with that, the occurrence, knowing that you normally get a reversal during that time frame. But it ain't looking good. I don't really have too
Yes.
much confidence in this trade at the moment, but we're still in it.
Excellent, excellent. My British pound dollar just just keep one price and no movement at all, which is good. Like we are trying to consolidate right now, and maybe we'll get support here and just go up in the near time.
Dude,
We'll
how
see
many
what
times do I gotta
happens.
turn
But
off
right now,
freaking
you give me a wonderful idea what we can do,
the
Okay.
especially for the US dollar. I will just show you what my thoughts are. Is if I go here and just to close this Burger Band indicator.
Okay. Can I
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
move the thing? Thank
what
you.
I can do is I can go on a daily chart and I can go to the just to find here to the pitchfork, and
Yeah.
I can go to the beginning of the 24 year.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, it was something here approximately, and I can find the high and and we will get something like this. So like we see, this is the something that I really like to see. Why? Because if we make analysis for last 50 years, we will see that this level here around around 1.28 and 20 28.50, for example, it's so important levels for British pound
Yeah.
dollar because it was the in the past a big decade and yearly resistance, yearly support, and repeats itself all the time. And right now we can see, for example, for this year that this is some kind of medium price, and it's wonderful how all these indicators and tools that we use in one moment align to each other, even if we use Fibonacci retracement, even
Mm-hmm.
pitchfork, either whatever we use on the end,
Sorry if anybody on
we get
YouTube
the
is available.
actually the same picture.
I
Yeah,
So
don't
this
or
is
have
the
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 chat up.
confluence between different types of analysis
We'll move
techniques,
it to
right?
it now.
yes, yes.
Thank you much.
I just want to quickly show you. I mean, I've got my practice sort of trading view chart on the side here. You keep on going, and I'm just going to quickly look at a few instances using pitchforks and show you a little bit what I like to do on the market geometry side of things. So please go, Igor. I'm just going to pull up another chart here, and I'll tell you when I'm ready. So if you still
Okay,
want
no
to
problem.
explain
I will
what's going
just
on
do the same thing for US dollar, for example, just to
there. Okay.
see what's happened there. The same story, but I think it will be very similar. Um, if we go here and just find beginning on the 2024 like this, and we find
So using the beginning of the year almost.
the highest price, this other price in from the 2025. Anyhow, we can see how the price very similar to British pound dollar. We are very close to the median price, and that price will be around
Yeah.
105.6
That's the
level.
median level
So
there.
it was the support in December, for example, for US dollar, and we are reaching that price. We are very close. So right now we are in some very important moment, I think,
Yeah, for
because
sure.
this can be interesting movement after this if we break this line.
Interesting.
Did you find, Richard, some excellent chart see
Excellent shot. I'm
most of
trying to cherry pick charts here for you. Because I'm also trying to look at the pound US dollar while nothing's happening on my side. Yeah. But I mean, I used to keep very long range charts. I can look at the euro US dollar. Maybe there's a better example. Yeah. Sorry, I'm looking at this side of the screen because I got three screens in front of me. But please, I'm just trying to see if I got something good to show you here
okay,
while nothing's happening.
okay. Just to tell. So right now, when we analyze the US dollar index right now, we see that we actually didn't break that support easily. We are somewhere there.
Yeah,
So it's not so many clear picture when we just to change a little bit the angle using a pitchfork, for example. We are still in this bullish part of the market. However, we really have a nice bearish setup here. And if you look, the trend line is like this, something like this, and we can go down days, maybe months. So, and fundamentally, it is the everything aligned because a lot of economists talk about this situation. Neither America is in good position, neither rest of the world. All these tariffs and all this fight that we have in economy, there's no clear explanation. Maybe in the books, if we analyze the economy from the books, when America put the tariffs to other countries, that countries should suffer. But in this case, when this so complicated situation and the war in Ukraine and problem European Union and China and everything put it together, it's so hard to see where this what will happen here. So
absolutely.
I think that we are really now on very important level, and I think that we need to see that this red line right now on the chart should be broken, and only then, if we go to the 100 level, something like that, that can be really big push
Yeah,
for all currencies against the dollar. So we will see what will happen, but
right. You
I
got.
think that yes.
Sorry, I'm not trying to interrupt you. So I found that on the euro US dollars, I had to redraw it because something I've been having on my charts for quite a few years, especially from Pitchfork's perspectives. Can I quickly share that with you?
Yes, please. I would
Let's
like to
That's
see
go.
that.
on
We're over here making trades. We we have
cancel.
this
No,
going.
unshare window.
You
This
know,
one over here.
just hopefully it helps somebody. Maybe it does. Maybe it doesn't. Oh, what are
Um,
we're looking
is it
at right
not
now?
showing up now? There we go. Took a little while. I mean, this is really long range stuff here on the euro US dollar, for example. I've had this type
Yes.
of pitchfork on my chart for a very long time. And yes, this is in hindsight.
Hmm.
But if you just go and look, generally pitchforks, you need to select three anchor points, right? And then you've got different settings like your shift pitchforks, modified pitchforks. This is a standard pitchfork setting, which Dr. Alan Andrews used. And just using the three most prominent anchor points, in this case, lower, low, lower, high. I mean, again, this is a very long range chart at the moment. This is typically what you want to see. And if you swing trading, I can be quite patient when I do this sort of stuff, is, you know, expect potential support and resistance coming in areas. Like, look at that beautiful touch there. I didn't trade this. It's just visually pretty cool to see and how these type of things work. You can see price broke below the median line and tested, and this is what we call a flush and a retest or kiss goodbye. And this whole entire move ended when it actually hit the lower median line of this pitchfork, made it all the way back up a median line, back again. Try to get above it quite a few times, breaks, retests, and it fell back into that now. So this is something I'm looking at the euro US dollar at the moment. Look what it's trying to do. And this is actually on today's high, the current candle's high. It retested that upper median line again. So this is the kind of thing a lot of traders are oblivious to it. They don't know that there's what I call angular support and resistance areas that could be potentially, there that you're not aware of. And this is a lot of things. You look at market geometry, you look normally at angular support and resistance areas. So for example, this is what we call an overthrow here. If I were to take, let's say, a ray, and I attach it to that high there and draw it at the same angle as these median lines, go and grab it and extend it.
Not really sure
to
which
that
way
area
the
where
market
it
is going.
overthrew it. Dr. Alan Andrews said the next time that
I
price
wanna pick
revisits or
down.
overthrows the main
Well, we do
median line or
have
the
some
pitchforks, it will
divergences.
typically reach the same sort of distance that it did before.
Oh, I don't know actually
This
if
is
there's
where you
any
get
divergences. Let me
support
back
over
that
there,
up.
we had resistance,
There is some
and things can get quite messy
the
if you
MACD
wanted to
cross
do
that
this
we could be going
type of
possibly back up.
analysis. And it's very important that you don't go and try to draw too many lines because you'll start confusing yourself. But what is very important for me is to keep a bigger chart like this with a simple pitchfork, just using the three most prominent anchor points prior to a very prominent low that occurred in September 22. And
Looks
you
like
can
we're
very
at
clearly
some
see
sort of
how price
resistant
has
point.
been
I
jumping
don't
in
know what it
between
is.
these median lines, and especially recently. And this can also help you quite a lot with your type of expectations or bias. Let's say, for example, we were saying that we expect the dollar index to potentially get worse.
This is a good resistant line.
For me,
and
if
we're
it clears
pretty
this
much
level,
here at the 50
I think we got a
EMA
good
on
chance
the
that
daily.
it's going to, currently, because this is angular, right?
So are we going to
Potentially
bounce
towards
here,
the next level,
move
or that
up?
next angular line, which it overshot previously, which I'll just show you, this red line over here. And it tends to gravitate between these angular support and resistance lines.
Ooh, that did not make it.
So this is the
far
actual
enough.
chart I wanted to show
We're
you.
gonna go ahead and put the buy
you
in
can really
now.
go and
Can
play
you
around with things.
please
Very important that you don't
stop
go
doing
and draw
that to
too
me, man?
many of these lines, but
We're gonna go ahead and
quite often,
target back the
and I
low
would like to switch to a
of
shift
the opening
pitchfork
5
here.
minutes.
Very close to that upper median line, we got a very close zone of confluence, which in my opinion would be a very strong resistance point.
All right, we took some profit
For the euro US dollar in this case to overcome. But where's my geometric shapes here? If we do get a break above that area there, so it's an area where you have a downtrending upper median line of a very long-term pitchfork, and you got this one to the upside that's actually tracking this move to the upside at a starting point of a low, Jan 25, higher low, and it's getting very close to that area. So this is the kind of thing I would like to see. I wouldn't necessarily like to trade long into those areas, just knowing that they are higher time frame, very strong resistance levels. But using this type of analysis and looking at what price action does at these zones, if we do get a break, and I haven't used TradingView well for this analysis for a little bit of a time. If we do get a break of that zone, then I expect potentially a retest, and then where to go to the next potential level. Then I'll be using that information. So all I'm really trying to say, in a long story short, that will be bullish for me, but it needs to clear those angular levels, in my opinion, before we'll get too bullish. But I do expect, like we talked earlier when we started the session, that the dollar index,
right, I'm pretty happy so far.
Has more downside potential,
what we have in
which
our
obviously
trades.
be strong for the euro US dollar and pound US dollar. But knowing that it's actually bumping its head at those areas, it is a very strong
almost 200 for the day,
in my opinion. So a clear above that, and then I think that will sort of
And actually, if we stuck with that,
the euro would then let loose towards the
definitely
next sort
can
of area of
complete this
annular
challenge. Actually, if we
resistance
stuck with
and
this all month long.
hopefully that makes sense. A little bit
Yes,
off the
it's
topic
true.
of what I normally do during these sessions.
Yes,
But I also
tell me,
We should be
None of
fine, bro.
tell me, Richard, do you use sometimes the pitchfork, for example, on daily levels? For example, yesterday low, yesterday high. Do we have some experience in that way? Does it help it in trading?
um, if you're actually just looking at the highs and lows of a previous day, I don't often do that too much. I have in the past. I typically like to focus on the major swing points, and see where price is gravitating towards, and then make note, whether that's mentally or on a different chart, where those levels actually are. So quite often price would gravitate towards them, which could present a trading opportunity, or actually take reversal trades as price moves into those levels, especially if it's taken from a higher time frame. And just to make sure, if you're bullish buyers,
Yes.
make sure you're not taking a position trading right into that level that's 10 pips above you. You know what I mean?
Yes,
Because
yes.
so it's just, I like to know mentally,
So tired,
or actually
bro.
physically, in this
So
situation,
tired.
where these
Anyways,
very,
we
very
do got
strong
some
support
trades in.
resistance areas are on higher time frames. If that makes sense.
Yes, yes.
Yes, you do want to see.
All right, so I
We
think
do. We
that's all
are
I wanted
up
to show
today.
you on there. How are we doing on the time? We've still got, what, 15 minutes?
We were only
Yes.
up 58 cents, I think, yesterday.
I'm just watching my British pound dollar right now,
Okay. You can
Don't
take it
forget,
over if you want to.
and
yesterday we were up
okay, just to tell
221.
that the price started to go up. I
Okay.
will just share the screen if you want, if I can.
Yeah. Go for it. Go for it.
Okay. So, for example, right now we have the low on last 15-minute candle. The low was exactly the low that we have in the middle of Euro session, and this is to the pip.
Oh,
Just it's a 1.2705. So we have that low, and we
don't
started to
know
go
about this
up.
trade.
If we go up, if we just continue in couple candles to go up, we can reach the level 1.276. And this is something that I see very, very often. We miss few pips. As you can see, the high was 1.27534. We missed to hit the target with 6 pips. We went down to the support, touch the Euro session low to the pip, and we again going up, trying to touch this higher level. So this is the pattern that I see so many times,
Yeah.
and this is really remarkable how that repeats itself, and how really we can make some kind of the profit if we really just keep doing all the time.
Yeah.
However, like I said, the only thing that I don't like here, just to check again the indicator relative strength index, how that looks like. I will do that again.
You know, it is. It looks
If I
like it
make
is
the
dropping.
trend line, like this, I don't like the how that we
Yeah.
broke this indicator. And this is something that very often will stop me to enter into trade. Even I have a good risk reward ratio, because I really like to have a clear bullish trend and all triggers to align.
Hurry up,
And
one
this is
more
one of the triggers that I
freaking.
want to use, that the trend line relative strength index needs to be
Dude, come
bullish.
on.
And for
So if
example, right now, I afraid to do that, for example. Yes.
yeah. So if the RSI was
You can
bouncing
have
from
to
the
risk
trend
more
line
just to
at that
not
level
freaking
you
get
were
cried at.
talking about, obviously it's below now, but if it was above, then that's something you would consider
Yes,
taking,
yes.
right?
Yes, yes, but for example, my one of my rules is, one time if we break this trend line, I cannot trade. It doesn't
Yeah.
mean I should sell, but just avoid trading
Now we're in
because
with what we
it's
would
not
like
good.
to be.
So right
Right now.
now I don't like it, and I see again just in I'm talking 2 minutes. I think I'm talking 2 minutes.
Yeah,
In two
and it's
minutes
gone
Starting
lower.
kind
we
of late.
already have 10 pips down.
Yeah,
This is incredible. Yes, 10 pips down in just 2 minutes, and we are again going to that support. Maybe we are trying to break this support and again to go to 1.2680 again. So
yeah,
really, 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 I know that if I'm traded, for example, 10 years ago, I, I, I think that I would make 3, 4, 5 trades in this 1 hour. So
yeah,
I'm sure that I will do that.
yeah. It's moving lower now. Interesting.
Oh, great. I guess Richard and Nicole, do you have anything else to share?
I don't really have anything else. That trade unfortunately did not work out. It went sideways for quite some time. Things are just too weak on the indices. We're just seeing prices moving lower. Obviously, the US market's not liking the sort of, I don't know, political climate or whatever it is. Very, very sharp declines. It's something I was saying in the beginning of the year. I did expect that to occur. Um, and now it's playing out. And having to deal with that volatility, you can't say price was not going to go up and you should stay out. I followed the trading rules, didn't work out this time. And next time I'll just repeat those same rules of the strategy and keep going at it because I got confidence in the actual strategy. So unfortunately, nothing too much seriously happened today on my side. But yeah, it was great seeing Igor and how he approaches the markets.
Yes. I guess, Igor, you have something for us?
Yes, I'm just watching. I have one. I cannot say nonsense, but when I track every single major forex pair, all of them against dollar are winning last 48 hours, last week, or
Yeah,
something like that. But when I go to US dollar CAD, we have something really unconventional because as you can see on a daily chart, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days in a row bullish trend. And
yeah,
even in this moment, when US dollar is so weak, we have so good push for US dollar CAD. So for people that if something switch in the market and if US dollar start to go up, I think that US dollar CAD can be the best asset to use to trade because if in this moment when the US dollar is so weak, we have this bullish trend. What will happen
mm,
if if the US dollar start to strength? I think that this can be really really incredible, and I think that all these things that we see right now on the chart are purely fundamental because of Trump tariffs to the Canada. And I think that because of these tariffs, all these things happens on this chart, which can be really good thing because if something happens with these tariffs, if for example Trump just change his mind or something like that, I think that we can have one big bearish candle here just in one day,
yeah.
for example, because it's really this chart is a really something that I didn't expect, and I by accident I just open it because I do not trade US dollar CAD too often, but right now I'm a little
Mm.
bit surprised. What do you think, Richard? Do you have maybe explanation why this happened with US dollar CAD?
I think you just said what I what I would be thinking there. I don't know. There's so much uncertainties in the markets, and I mean, it's showing in the forex markets. It's showing in the indices. Um, oh, whether it's difficult trading conditions, I wouldn't really say that much, but yeah, just looking at what the euro US dollar did there, hitting that long term upper median line and the other chart that I've shown you, could just be a temporary little pullback. But I do still share your sentiments that on the bigger picture, whether you're looking at whatever currency pair versus the dollar, I do think the dollar index itself has got some weakness ahead of it. When that's going to happen, it's already happening to a small extent. Is it going to start accelerating? Who knows?
Yes.
Really,
Yes.
don't know.
Yes, it's really so much uncertainty, and sometimes I think that these intraday traders, I think that can benefit more than these fundamental traders, because we don't have some clear big trends like before, and I think that maybe this is good for the shorter time
Yeah.
frame
Remember
traders.
also volatility can be pretty good on a shorter time frame or like day trading.
Yes.
But again, number one rule, always look at your risk first and make sure you're controlling that, especially on smaller time frames, whether you're scalping, intraday swing trading, whatever you're doing. Volatility can be good, but yeah, just looking at that chart there on the euro US dollar, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. It's all
Yes.
over the place. Yeah.
Yes. I just want to ask if somebody watched this, or are there any questions from the traders that watching live? Are there any questions related to some maybe setup or something like that?
Mhm.
Well, I don't see any questions yet, but yep, definitely we viewers, if you have any questions, please drop your questions in the comments, and we'll try our best to answer it.
I did see some comments come through there. That's the first time I see that, which was pretty cool. But no questions that I've seen. I mean, you're moderating. But yeah, from my side, I'll be back on Thursday again, trading the same strategy. And hopefully things work out a little bit better.
Okay. So we have
Robert
Robert
saying,
here. Yeah. Yes,
what did
Richard.
he say there?
So he has just a kind of, he missed divergence and NASDAQ comment.
So I think Igor was asking if I actually
Yes.
look at divergences. The problem with divergences is, you know, especially in NASDAQ, especially during times like this, we're seeing price moving lower very, very fast, right? So price can start, or the indicators can start diverging, like whether this is your MACD or your stochastics or whatever it is you want to be looking at for quite some time before you actually do get reversals. So it can be quite dangerous just to be relying on that, although it can be, let's say, an overlay and to help you with your decision making. If you want to, let's say, take a reversal trade or a trend continuation trade at the end of a correction, you know, are you in overbought, oversold situations? Do you have momentum divergence, whatever divergences or oscillator that you're following? Yes, you know, it's helping you with your decision making, but in very strong trending conditions, divergences just to rely on that Saudi can be quite dangerous in my opinion, especially on the indices. Because it can keep on diverting, and price is continuously going in one direction. So hopefully that answers his question there.
Well, absolutely. That makes sense. I guess anybody else has any question? It looks like no. So well, Robert has like, I guess the divergence are more secondary then.
I wouldn't say secondary. It's like, for me, it's like you have to almost build a case, like an investigator. Should I be taking a trade here? What are other things telling me? Yes, there's stuff that's supporting the idea that I should go long or short. You know, so if you do use stuff like divergences, by all means, nothing wrong with it. Definitely not. It's just knowing that in the back of your head that during very strong trending conditions, divergences might start showing up. It could be from the point that it started showing up to when we actually get a reversal, can be quite a long period of time in between. So for me, using indicators, it does definitely have a place, but it should potentially just be another layer to help you out in your decision making rather than potentially just relying solely on what the indicator is telling you.
Well, thank you. Thank you,
Awesome,
Richard,
Larry.
for answering that.
Yeah.
Igor, anything else? Anything from your end?
Just to thank Richard for all these things that he said and the fair value gap strategy. And I learned a lot in this session from him. And just to tell that, that to recap that I created a buy trade for the Aussie dollar today, and that
Yep.
I play with British pound dollar between the levels 1.271 to 1.276, and that I have a bullish bias from the 1.2680. Maybe for some traders want to know that, and this is it. I really enjoying this session.
Yeah, same here, Igor. Very nice meeting you. We're on different hemispheres of the world. Always great when it comes to trading.
Yes.
I sit in a small office here, so I really do enjoy these sessions with questions coming in and meeting other traders as well. So it can be quite lonely being a trader. So yeah, if you've got any questions from, you know, guys, newbies here, there's no such thing as a stupid question. I don't pretend to know everything either. But, you know, I think this is a really good opportunity to do ask questions, meet like-minded people that enjoy trading, and yeah, have a bit of a community going, which is I
Yes.
think very beneficial.
Yes, yes, it is.
Awesome.
Well, great. Thank you so much, Richard and Igor, for joining this insightful session and for sharing your valuable experience and strategy.
Thank you.
The discussion today has proved, provided a comprehensive view of the latest market trends and potential trading opportunities and risk management strategies too. So I'm confident that traders will find this insightful, beneficial,
Yep.
and
Okay.
navigate market volatility and making informed trading strategies. So thank you so much again for your participation, and I look forward to have like another session like this.
Perfect.
Of course.
Nice
Bye-bye.
meeting you too, Chetan. And Igor, cheers. Have a good one.
Cheers.
All right, thank
Bye-bye.
you so much. And also, viewers, we do have another session in next 20-25 minutes, so please stay tuned.
Perfect.
Thank you both of you.
My side, cheers, everyone. Have a good rest of your day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. Let's bring this stuff back over here. Sorry, guys, if you guys didn't want to watch that, I figured, you know, it might be nice to just get some other perspectives, maybe from actual successful traders. I know I could use it. It kind of just made me like, the question I asked is kind of like, you know, because I did sort of catch something on the divergences and, you know, how they don't always, you know, line up. Like it could continue on past for a while. And, you know, I think that's something that I struggled with in that sense where I'm like, ooh, divergence, definitely just boom. how can you not? You know, and then it freaking doesn't do anything, keeps continuing, creating more of a divergence, and then, you know, hits my stop loss, and eventually it's just like, I'm upset already, I'm done, I don't understand what I'm doing, and then boom, then it goes, and then I'm like, what happened? Then I'm like, I guess I don't understand. So, you know, then I was like, okay, kind of the way he was explaining this sounded more secondary, more supportive. Then he was like, no, it's just sometimes it just takes long, essentially, is what I heard from that. Sometimes you gotta wait out in strong trends. You know what I mean? In strong trends. We gotta throw that out. In strong trends. That being the case, that's always fine. It's always fine to me. I don't care, you know, you just got to do what you've got to do. Be happy. Anyways, I don't think we're gonna take any more trades. I don't see anything jumping out at me in a trade. Maybe we attempt to go short here. Looking very shortish. I think 15 is our... But you know what? We do have this account, and as much as I want to be able to see this nice 200, I'm seeing some less volume.
Order filled.
We're gonna go for it. Ooh, does not look like we are gonna take that trade. Bro, it doesn't look like we're gonna win that trade. And as far as we're moving our stop loss, that's not gonna... That looks disgusting. We're moving it to the low of yesterday, which honestly is very likely to hit and bounce off of. Probably put it on the other side of that. This count is not that big of a deal. Should we go down to the next fib? We'll go down to the next fib, and then what we'll do is we'll probably move our stop loss into here. Actually, we probably should. What am I missing here? Okay, so 255, right? That's where we have the stop loss. And then we have, why does this differ? 2136. Things just really messed up. Try to figure this out. real quick before we leave because I like to know. Okay, our low is fine. High is fine. Gotcha. Move back to our normal trend. 1 hour. For our normal time frame.
Stop filled.
Boom. 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 All right, and then we got to come over here to our 5-minute, figure out. Five-minute is there. What I have for my 5 minutes. So then what's up with this? Why is this off? That's interesting. On NinjaTrader, we have our 5-minute in a completely different area. Or am I tripping? This is why I don't trust a whole lot, to be honest. Don't trust things a whole lot. Let's take a look at what we're looking at over here as a 5-minute. So the low would be 299 and 430. So very close. And 299 would be somewhere around here. Yeah, so this one's way off. So it kind of depends on where. So is this always like a little ahead? I think it is. No, I don't trust it. All right, so we stopped trading these accounts. We're up 322 on this account. We're up 192 on our other account here. Overall, we're up 193. I think we're doing okay. I think potentially we could get funded if we continue and we don't get all crazy. Like, this is good. You know what I mean? This is good. Let's not overtrade this. And I guess we could call that there, you know what I mean? I think we lost another trade over here. We have losing trades in a row. Is looking good over here. We're gonna go ahead and stop loss up. Probably to here. Freaking moved. I'm just gonna. Oh. Okay. All right, anyways. Ooh, that looks could be nice. A little scalp. Oh, we missed it. Well, I missed it.
Order filled.
Alrighty. Oh, that's a nice move down. Oh, that's. No, keep going down. Don't hit it.
Stop filled.
Don't. All right. All right. Well, we got 154 for the day. I mean, we've got so far to climb out of that one. Should probably be trading our other ones. I think we might start that. We're a little behind, but I mean, those are closer to passing, so we might as well give those ones a good go. There we go. It looks like we might be breaking down underneath. I don't know if I should jump in on that. I think we may have missed the trade, which is fine. We're just gonna leave it like that. That's just how we have to do it. And probably so now that we know they all reset and renew. You know what? That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna trade on the two that are we're in a good spot. Then we will jump on the ones that are almost failed, or halfway, in between, and we'll trade bigger contracts. If we get to a point where we don't ever touch those. I think that's what we're gonna do starting tomorrow. Is we're gonna switch to the bigger ones, so that way we can kind of jump in there and try and get those passed. I think we figured out that if we wanted to pass that in 3 weeks, so we're going to divide this by 15. We have to make 1,666. If we wanted to do it in 10 days, we have to do $2,500 a day. Don't know that that's actually going to be much feasible, because we're going to kind of, what I want to do is focus on these smaller ones first, because those are going to be the easiest to pass. Easiest to fail, but easiest to pass. And if we can get to a point where we're pulling the money, that's going to be the thing. Right? So, kind of makes sense to me. Run it through that way. Because we can always hit bigger contracts on the other ones towards the end of the last half of the month. and kind of punch through there and go that route. Anyways, we do have all the loves. Peace, and we will see you later.